Hi friends, and welcome back to my channel. Super excited to be here. Hi if you're new here, hi if you're not. Okay, so before we get into today's video, I did want to address the fact that the entire first scene of this video is completely out of focus, and the irony is not lost on me that I spend the majority of these 3 minutes talking about how I've been playing with my camera settings and I'm really figuring it out. So I just wanted to give that as a pre-warning. I am editing this video a number of days after I actually filmed it, and quite frankly, I just don't really feel like doing it over for such a silly little task. So if the fact that the camera is focused on my microphone and not my face bothers you, I would suggest you listen to the first 4 minutes of this episode as a podcast. Close your eyes. Don't look at the screen. It does get better, I promise. You can always use the timestamps to skip ahead to the next chapter, and I promise you it comes back into focus. But if you do decide to watch the blurry parts, you'll get to see my cat, and he's pretty cute. So I just wanted to put that in as a little preface before we get started. So let me know in the comments down below how you think the rest of the camera looks as we move through this video, and I appreciate you so much for being here. Let's get into it. Okay, so as you may or may not know, I bought a new camera a few weeks ago. I've been playing around with the settings, really trying to figure it out, and I think I had like motion tracking on, so every time I move my head, camera moves around, and it was making it look like the camera was... Can you guys hear my cat losing his mind right now? This is my cat. He needs to stop talking. Shh. Okay. What was I saying? So a few weeks ago, I bought a new camera. I had the motion tracking on. It was making the camera look like it was shaking a lot. And so I think I turned... My God, he's relentless. I think I turned it off. You can let me know in the comments what you think. I've been playing with the settings, really trying to get the video to look money, and we're just gonna deal with the cat screaming in the background while we film this video. So about a month ago, I posted this video right here where I was outlining the prevalent commonalities between MLMs, cults, and coaching programs. Your feedback on that video was much appreciated, and as per your comments and requests, I am here with a part 2. So if you missed part 1, be sure to check it out. I have it linked in the description down below. I'm not going to take the time in this video to discuss the definitions of what an MLM is, what a cult is, what a coaching program is, because I did that in part 1. And I don't want to waste your time and be super repetitive. Okay, he literally won't stop screaming, so I'm just gonna hold him while we film this video. So in part 1, we talked about how each of these entities uses the promise of financial success as a means of recruiting people into the structure. We also discussed the dangers associated with the fact that there isn't a lot of regulation in any of these spaces, particularly MLM or coaching. And so what we see a lot is people framing themselves as experts when they really have no expertise at all. We mentioned the fear of external criticism and how you're often not allowed to think negatively about the people who are in the group and about what the group is doing. We talked about the utilization and exploitation of a sense of community to make people feel like they belong. We discussed the false sense of empowerment that people are often left with in pursuit of, creating the life of their dreams. I don't know what this guy is doing. We talked about the constant need for reaching and to do more and to be more and to always be trying harder. And finally, we reviewed the use of toxic positivity to sort of capitalize on people's excitement and keep them stuck in the opportunity. So again, if you haven't already watched that video, I will have it linked down in the description below. Now, if you did watch that video, you might be thinking by now, Danielle, shut up. I already know all this. Why are you wasting my time? So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get right into it. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you haven't already, and subscribe to my channel if you're not. In today's video, we are going to be talking about arguably the most important piece of any MLM, coaching program, or cult, and that is the almighty leader. At the end of the day, I would have no MLMs, no cults, and no coaching scams to talk about if the leader did not exist. Because quite frankly, we need someone at the tippity top who's pulling the strings and calling the shots. So today, we're gonna talk about exactly that. So the quintessential characteristic of any cult is something we've already established, and that is the almighty leader. What I think is often disregarded, though, is the fact that this same attribute is prevalent inside the MLM space and inside the coaching space. And if we think of the idolization of these types of people inside MLMs, the Jesse Lee Wards of the world, the Sarah Hills of the world, the Stormy Wellingtons of the world, or inside the coaching space, think Tony Robbins, think Ed Milet, think Reagan Hillier. We see the exact same worship-like behaviors that we've seen with cults throughout history. Think Warren Jeffs, Charles Manson, Keith Raniere, and more. And although a cult, an MLM, a coaching program, mastermind, container, whatever you want to call it, might on the surface seem like it's a safe and supportive environment that is sort of collectively supporting everyone towards this common goal, I would argue that there are red flags everywhere. And I think that in each of these entities, believers or people who are truly committed to doing the work are led to understand that they shouldn't question the leader, they shouldn't question the methods being used, and they should blindly follow the guidance that they're provided. Why, you might be asking? Because if individuals believe everything that the leader is telling them, they're much more likely to open their wallets and support the cult, support the MLM, support the coaching program. And further to that, they're much more likely to stay inside the cause and then recruit other people to come join them in the cause, thus continuing to allow the leader to grow their power and to grow their circle of influence. And so you might now be wondering, what exactly makes a good leader? And I use the word good here in the context of like effective at doing their job in the cult, in the MLM, in the coaching program. First of all, I just want to say that these people know how to target the right people. The emotionally vulnerable, the stressed out, the isolated, those in dire financial situations. And I talk about this tactic in so many of the videos on my channel, so be sure to check out the playlist link down below if you haven't already. Because here's the thing about anyone that falls prey to a cult, to an MLM, to a coaching program, despite any differences that they may have in their socioeconomic status, their experience, their current life circumstances, they all share one common characteristic, and that is the desire to change. And so what these leaders do is they use this desire to manipulate these people, to convince them that they have the solution, and to suck them into whatever their offer is. We see this in MLM as being sold on the idea that this business opportunity is going to be the thing that affords you the financial and time freedom that you're looking for. We see it sold in coaching as the mentorship that is finally going to give you the success that you desire in your life, in your business, in your relationships, in your spirituality, and so on. And we see it in cults as the opportunity to finally join a community that understands you, that thinks like you, a community that's going to finally support you in the things that you also believe in. And in each of these circumstances, they are being led by this almighty leader who has this magic solution that's going to solve whatever problem it is that you're facing. So back to the initial question, what is it that makes someone a good leader for this opportunity? And ultimately, I think it's someone who is dynamic, charismatic, and convincing. I mean, the ultimate goal, regardless of whether it's an MLM, it's a cult, it's a coaching program, is to sell the target individual on whatever it is that that leader is offering. Essentially, they want to brainwash that person into believing that the solution that they have is the one that this person needs. And again, a good leader, good in the context of this video, understands the pain of the person that they're trying to target, knows how to manipulate those triggers for that person, and promises them the perfect solution as a means of gaining monetarily or gaining some kind of power relationship. And the characteristics of being charismatic and convincing, I think, are particularly important because these leaders need the people that they bring in to blindly follow their guidelines. doctrines. They need these people to strictly adhere to the teachings, to the doctrines. And a good leader is able to quiet and refute any doubts or fears that these people might have. And it's the false empowerment that these leaders are able to provide. I think I touched on this in the first video that I did. The narrative of just keep trying, your success is so close. Or the maybe, invest a little bit more money and maybe you'll get there. Or the, my personal favorite, I did it once, I was in your shoes, and I was able to achieve XYZ. These are the sentiments that keep these vulnerable people sucked into these teachings. You can call it thought reform, you can call it brainwashing, you can call it coercive persuasion. The goal here is to break down a person's sense of self and lead them to do things that they would not do normally otherwise. And this is what is going to keep these people trapped in these cycles as long as possible. An effective leader understands this and is particularly good at its execution. Now, finally, before I close this video off, I wanted to quickly talk about the concept of deception, particularly in the context of leaders of MLMs, cults, and obviously coaching, particularly how they utilize deception as a means of initially building momentum for their cause. This is something, again, that I think I touched on in part 1 of this series, but I want to make sure that I'm doing it justice, so I think it's important to dive into it a little bit further. Again, if you haven't watched part 1, I have it linked in the description of this video. Now, I think that when we're chatting about the context of cults, of MLMs, of coaching, it really doesn't matter. We see this common practice in which these leaders are essentially tricking, for lack of a better term, people into joining a cause that they don't fully understand or understand the implications of. It's like selling them on an idea without giving them all of the details that they need to make an informed decision. Like, how many times have we heard a story where someone joined an MLM under the impression that they were starting their own business selling products, only to find out that the real way to be successful was to recruit other people into the business? Or how many times have we heard a story of a business owner who hired a business coach to learn how to grow their business to 6 figures, only to find out that the only way they were going to achieve 6 figures was to ditch their original business altogether and start coaching other people on how to start their own business. As a bit of an aside, one of my very first scam videos that I ever did on this channel was reading the story of a small business owner who got roped into that exact scenario, and I will have it linked right here if you're interested in watching it. My point is that the leaders of these movements, of these entities, are essentially intentionally misleading these recruits on the expectations, the activities, and the outcomes of joining that group. Why, you may ask? Because if you knew the full truth, you probably wouldn't join. These leaders want to literally provide you with the bare minimum that you need to know. They want to offer you that perfect solution to that pain point or problem that you're facing. And then it's only once you are fully immersed, fully committed, you have both feet in, that they really reveal the truth to you. Why, you might be asking again? Because it's at that point that it's often too late, or at least it feels like it's too late to turn back. It's deception at its finest, and honestly, in my opinion, it takes a very certain kind of immoral person to be able to execute it correctly. I would love to hear your thoughts on this in the comments, things you agree with, things that you think I missed or got incorrect. Please let me know. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're not already. If you'd like a part 3, you can let me know in the comments as well, and I will leave you right here with this video.